I'm Mark Rozell. I serve as the Dean of the Schar School of Policy and Government at George Mason University in Virginia. And my background is in U.S. government and politics. I'm a political scientist by training, and I'm absolutely delighted to have this opportunity to answer questions by the student fellows of the Bill of Rights Institute. So let's get right to the first question.
Hi, my name is Gianna and I have a question. What are some landmark Supreme Court cases that have significantly impacted our interpretation of the Bill of Rights?
That's a great question, Jenna. Thank you. The Bill of Rights is a cornerstone of American democracy, outlining fundamental rights and liberties. The interpretation of these rights has evolved significantly, though, through Supreme Court cases. To take a few examples, in Tinker versus Des Moines back in 1969, the court ruled that students wearing black armbands to protest the war in Vietnam were engaging in pure speech, which is a form of symbolic speech protected by the First Amendment. So this case affirmed that students do not lose their constitutional rights to freedom of speech when they enter school, emphasizing the importance of protecting free expression. Another important case, Terry versus Ohio, 1968, addressed the Fourth Amendment's protection against unreasonable searches and seizures. Now, the court found that a stop and frisk by police is considered search and seizure under the Fourth Amendment. However, it ruled that this practice is allowed under certain circumstances, especially in crime prevention. So the decision recognized the balance between individual rights and the need for law enforcement to maintain public safety, allowing evidence seized during such stops to be accepted in court. So these cases demonstrate how the Supreme Court shapes the interpretation of the Bill of Rights.
Hi, my name is Vicky Ramaswamy, and I'm a first-year fellow here with the Bill of Rights Institute. My question for you today is, how do groups like grassroots movements and special interest groups have in influencing how the Bill of Rights is protected and interpreted on a day-to-day basis?
Well, thank you for that question, Vigeesh. Let me answer. Grassroots movements, special interest groups, and lobbyists play significant roles in influencing how the Bill of Rights is protected and interpreted on a day-to-day basis. Grassroots movements such as the Civil Rights Movement, the women's suffrage movement, have long been at the forefront of efforts to expand and defend our constitutional rights, such as the right to vote. Now, these movements often garner support and momentum through advocacy campaigns, organized demonstrations and protests, and encouraging civic engagement within communities in America. Special interest groups typically advocate for specific rights, such as the rights to free speech and due process. Groups such as the American Civil Liberties Union, the National Rifle Association have been influential in shaping judicial interpretations of the Bill of Rights through litigation and lobbying efforts. Lastly, lobbyists work directly with lawmakers to push for legislation that strengthens or weakens various constitutional protections based on their interests.
Hi y'all, my name is Anthony Kim and I'm from New York. And my question to you is, how does the Bill of Rights affect the daily lives of American citizens?
Thank you for that question, Anthony. All 10 amendments included in the Bill of Rights affect the daily lives of American citizens. The Bill of Rights protects basic rights that American citizens are entitled to, even if you don't realize it. On a day-to-day basis, the First Amendment may play the biggest role in your life. The First Amendment protects the right of American citizens to exercise free speech, free practice of religion, freedom of the press. So that means in day-to-day life, Americans can communicate and speak how they would like without fear of government punishment. It also means that the government does not censor newspapers and media outlets. Additionally, the First Amendment guarantees that Americans of all faiths can worship as they please, or not at all, without interference from the government. In more serious circumstances, the Sixth Amendment becomes crucial. If you are ever arrested, this amendment guarantees your right to a fair trial. This includes the right to be informed of the charges against you, the right to a speedy and public trial, the right to an impartial jury, and the right to have legal representation. The Sixth Amendment ensures that the justice system operates transparently and fairly. These rights are designed to protect individuals from abuse of power by the government and to ensure that justice is administered fairly. These liberties protected by the Bill of Rights are fundamental to American life, but it's important to remember that not all countries guarantee such rights. In many parts of the world, people do not have the same freedoms of speech, press, religion, or the same legal protections if accused of a crime, for example. The rights enshrined in the Bill of Rights are a key part of what makes the United States unique in its commitment to individual freedoms and justice.
Hi, my name is Peter Kennedy, and I'm from Westchester, Pennsylvania. And my question for you is, why is civil disagreement important, and how can we simultaneously prevent political polarization in our communities?
Great question, Peter. Civic disagreement is important in a healthy democracy because it allows people to express different opinions and engage in debates that can lead to important policy changes, better decision-making, and increased political participation. It is essential for a functioning democracy to respect and encourage civic disagreement to allow for the inclusion of diverse opinions and prevent the marginalization of minority voices in the democratic process. In the United States, the form of government plays a role in providing the guide rails for civic disagreement. In the Federalist Papers, for example, James Madison argued that a large republic would be better able to control the effects of factions, that is, groups of citizens with different interests, because the diversity of opinions and interests would prevent any single faction from dominating. Madison believed that the competition of ideas in a large republic would lead to more refined and balanced decisions.
Why is civics education so important?
Thank you for your question, Naomi. Civic education is important for helping to foster and develop informed and engaged citizens. Civic education helps teach people about their individual rights, how government works, how they can be active, responsible citizens. By understanding the structure of government, how laws are made, and the rights guaranteed by the Constitution, people can be empowered to take an active role in our democracy. So this knowledge fosters and helps students understand the importance of voting, staying informed about political issues, contributing to the community through service and civic engagement. Inside and outside of the classroom, civics education encourages critical thinking. This helps people to analyze and understand complex societal issues and reinforces the idea that each person has the power to make a difference. So I think that comes to the end of all of our conclusions. I just want to thank the students for their excellent questions and encourage them to continue their studies in American government and politics. I really appreciate your interest in this topic. You are the future, and I feel very good about it, getting to know you through these opportunities to answer your questions. Thank you.